Uruguay's parliament will vote on a bill to create a water emergency fund in view of the scarcity of drinking water. And the 8th International Seminar of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, has already started in Vienna, the capital of Austria. And the Russian authorities report 1 dead and 41 civilians injured after shelling by Ukrainian forces on the Donetsk People's Republic. From the headquarters of TeleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South. I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada, and these are the news. In Guatemala, on Tuesday, the electoral boards completed the first day of revision of the ballot papers ordered by the Constitutional Court. The departmental electoral boards of Huehuetenango, San Marcos, Quetzaltenango, Baja Verapaz, Petén, Totonicapán, and Reulgeu finished the procedure, and the remaining ones will continue on Wednesday. Some prosecutors have expressed dissatisfaction with the disparity of criteria, while the boards have denounced pressures and threats from the representatives of certain parties, but reaffirmed their commitment to protect the vote and comply with the court's instruction. On Tuesday, the former Comptroller of Ecuador, Pablo Celi de la Torre, has been sentenced to prison along with 10 other people accused of organized crime. The Attorney General's office informed that it was notified of the written sentence in the Las Torres case, in which the former Deputy Comptroller, Pablo Celi, and the former Petroecuador manager, Pablo Flores, were sentenced as direct perpetrators of the crime of organized crime. Each was sentenced to 13 years and 4 months in prison. The sentence of Judge Walter Macías Fernández was announced in February, but after the procedural notification made on Tuesday, it has been confirmed. According to the charges, they obtained economic benefits in exchange for the fading of glosses and the payment of payroll for contracts signed with the oil company. And various groups in Haiti have rejected the proposal of the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres regarding a possible military intervention in the Caribbean country. According to Mario Joseph of the International Bureau of Lawyers, Guterres' attempt only seeks to strengthen the supremacy of imperialist countries, particularly the United States. Members of the Montana Agreement Monitor's Office reject the proposal because it will not solve the multidimensional crisis the country is suffering. Jacques Sendek, a member of office, affirms that technical assistance and the definite rupture of alliances between rulers and criminal groups will alleviate the criminality problem. And the summit of Mercosur presidents ended on Tuesday in Argentina with a firm stance on the demands of the European Union. The heads of state have ratified their interest in establishing trade relations with the European bloc, but not at any price. Especially Argentine President Alberto Fernandez, who has handed over the pro-tempore presidency to the Brazilian President Luis Inácio Lula da Silva, has reiterated that the region cannot be integrated into the world only as a supplier of raw materials, but as an exporter of processed products, a position that has been endorsed by the new president of the European Union, who has been elected as the new president of the bloc. Now we move on to other topics. On Wednesday, Uruguay's parliament will vote on a bill to create a water emergency fund in view of the scarcity of drinking water. The government initiative seeks to respond to the shortage of drinking water in the capital city of Montevideo and the metropolitan area. The bill will be submitted for consideration by the congresspersons at a time when the water level in the Severino Reservoir, responsible for supplying the vital liquid to almost 2 million people, reaches less than 2%. President Luis Lacalle Pou announced he will meet with authorities of the state sanitary works and the ministries of environment and the public health to analyze the situation affecting the country. In Ecuador, animal species living in the Galapagos Islands face El Niño phenomenon, which alerts or alters their habitats and threatens the wildlife. The turtles are the most threatened by the increase in ocean surface temperature associated with the El Niño climate phenomenon, which also weakens the winds and generates heavy rains. In other occasions, this phenomenon eliminated entire colonies of corals and reduced by 30% the population of penguins and flying cormorants, affecting almost sea lions and marine iguanas, the four most vulnerable species. According to the experts, Galapagos species can cope climatic anomalies, but if variations occur with too much frequency and intensity, they do not have time to recover, breaking the balance between birth rate and mortality. In addition, heavy rains can also affect the sea turtle and the land turtle populations, as nests will be flooded and the eggs will be lost.
Now we should already have cold weather at the end of June, July, August, but we still have very warm weather. We don't have cold weather coming in yet. The simple change in sea temperature caused the algae to disappear, and the algae is the beginning of the food chain for all other sea animals, but mainly the iguana.
And after this story and with a call to save our planet, let's take a short break. But remember, you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you will find the news in different formats, news updates and more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The 8th International Seminar of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, an extraordinarily important event to discuss key issues in the energy sector, is taking place in Vienna, the capital of Austria. The Secretary General of the powerful group, Haitham Al-Ghais, has recognized that the global industry is going through a critical moment, which is why the discussions at the seminar take on special relevance, given the high level and the weight of the participants. The event, which will end tomorrow on Thursday, will be attended by energy ministers and industry representatives from member countries, allied countries, and governments from various countries in the world. And now we receive our collaborator, Jorge Gestoso, who has more on the development and the highlights of this 8th OPEC International Seminar taking place in Vienna, Austria. Be welcome, Jorge.
Gladys, the first day of this 8th International Seminar of OPEC here in Vienna has finished, and definitely there's a big challenge that is going on about the future of the energy that has been discussed precisely in this occasion. The theme of the seminar is a transition of the energy based on sustainability and fairness. And precisely we did have the opportunity throughout the day to interview the director of this company that you have seen behind me, GEPetrol, meaning Guinea Equatorial Petroleum. We're talking about Teresa Isabel Nang, and she was emphasizing one of the messages that is critical, that the countries, the export countries of petroleum, precisely the 13 countries of OPEC, are emphasizing, that is fairness. She's saying we are expecting to develop, we are totally committed to a transition of energy in the future, but that transition has to be done in a progress way. There is a lot of asymmetries between the large countries, the huge countries that are really pushing to do that transition theoretically or rhetorically, And the poorer countries, for example, the countries of Africa, she says, definitely we were the least in polluting the earth, but they expect on us to keep those standards very quickly. So that is a very important message. Another important message is that most definitely there is a concern about the exporters about to create stability of the market. That is key. There's a lot of inequalities, and there's a lot of concerns about what's going on in the world economy. Precisely, for example, the fact that the conflict in Ukraine is adding up that instability. Well, the countries of OPEC, they want to create that stability that could be stability of oil, but also stability in general of the world in terms of the economy. And they want to keep the price of the oil barrel in $80. And because of that, for example, this week, in the case of Saudi Arabia, they decided to cut 1 million barrels a day to 9 million. Russia cut 500,000 barrels a day. And most definitely, there's another countries together, smaller countries, but together, we're talking about 1.6 million barrels a day that they have cut, and they're going to keep that cut for the coming month at least. Today in the world, the consumption of oil, we're talking about 101 million barrels a day. So basically, that gives you an idea. Even though the rhetoric is that we have to keep doing that transition as soon as possible in order to avoid the global warming, the reality is that the consumption of energy is going to increase by 23% by the year 2050, and not necessarily with an alternative energy is going to be ready in order to cover that increase. So mostly fossil fuels are here to stay longer than expected, and the countries, smaller countries like Equatorial Guinea say, guys, let's be fair, don't expect us to keep the same pace that you are doing when you guys were having, during decades, all the freedom to pollute the world. So definitely there's a lot to do, a lot to say, and tomorrow is going to be the second day of that international seminar here in Vienna, and we are looking forward to see what the conclusions are going to be. We're back to you, Gladys, now.
So thank you, Jorge, for your insights and your description and criteria on this event. And as always, we are thankful for this time for you and for us in TeleSUR English. And now let's go to a short break, but listen, TeleSUR English launches its own videos on demand site for you to go and revisit our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings, and more. You just have to go to the top left corner in our website homepage and click in the video option to access our VOD platform. And now we will have a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Shelling by Ukrainian forces in the Donetsk People's Republic has left 1 fatality and 41 civilians injured. According to the information provided by the mayor of Mariivka, Vladislav Kulishov, the attack was directed against a residential area in the city. As a result of this attack, a 61-year-old man died and several family residences and administrative offices were completely destroyed. Among these, the mayor reported 9 medical institutions with considerable damage. Currently, the wounded are being treated and the operational services are still functioning. The Russian Defense Ministry reported on Wednesday that all defense and security services are deployed and alert and claimed to have foiled several attacks perpetrated by Ukraine and its collaborators in their territories. The report also said that in the province of Belgorod, the Ukrainian artillery destroyed 2 houses, 5 cars, and wounded a resident of the locality of Valuiki. The governor, Vyacheslav Gladkov, explained that the defense system did its job, but there was damage on the ground. The Russian military also repelled the attack of 2 platoons and a company of the Ukrainian forces on the line of operations in the south of Donetsk, and the Federal Security Service foiled a terrorist attack on an energy facility on Chakhalhim Island. The Russian government takes measures to counter a possible threat of sabotage by Kiev at the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. The spokesperson of the Russian presidency, Dmitry Peskov, made the announcement without giving further details. The official also said that the sabotage of the nuclear power plant would be catastrophic. Peskov acknowledged that the tension between Russia and Ukraine increased due to this situation. The Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, the largest in Europe, is located near the city of Energodar. It has 6 pressurized water reactors and a capacity of 6,000 megawatts. The facility has been under the protection of the Russian military since March 2022. And after 2 days of bombardments and raids, the Israeli occupying forces ended the operation in the Jenin camp, leaving 13 Palestinians killed, including 3 children as part of the toll. On the other hand, the deployment was a failure in the view of some Israeli experts who claim that the stated objectives were not achieved. Although the Israeli forces justified the Garden House operation as a broad anti-terrorist effort to disband the Jenin brigade, the military incursion, the largest since the Second Intifada, has led thousands of families to leave the refugee camp, which has been completely cut off from water and electricity supplies.
Our youngsters stood up. Our women are holding still. Our elders and our children, all the Jenin camp is holding on. At the end, we have a cause and a homeland, and all the bloodshed is considered a sacrifice for the homeland and for our cause. All this destruction can be fixed, God willing, and as we say, souls are what matter. Our children are well, and God have mercy on the martyrs' souls which are considered a torch that lights our way. This is a cause that will never die, because we are rightful claimants. This camp was built as a refugee camp, after we had to flee Bisan, Sarain, Batir, Al-Mansi, Acre, and Jaffa. No right will be forgotten, and although they say the elderly are gone and the young generation will forget, here are the youngsters, they are still here, and no one will forget.
And we have come to the end of this news brief. But remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, please join us on social media for all the latest news. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.